Alright, take two. I am giving streaming another shot. It bugged me after the last one. There were some comedic but potentially adorable mistakes that I made. So I'm trying to figure this out. So one theory I have is maybe the way I was doing it through OBS was causing problems. Now I've got it set to game capture, so we'll see if that does anything. I also figured rather that it would make sense to try sort of my test on a game that nobody seems to care about, which is Thrones of Britannia, which I actually love. So if anyone is watching, it'll just be me sort of playing around with this game that I enjoy, and I'll be sort of tabbing out to get a sense of the chat. I've got a single monitor here, and I guess there is a way for me to monitor the chat stuff with a single monitor, but I think I need some software to do it. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do it that's fairly unobtrusive, I guess. Again, this is not going to be top quality professional level stuff. This is going to be me just playing around with the system and seeing what I can do with it. So with that said, what should we do here? I definitely don't want to do West Sax. In terms of difficulties, I kind of like very hard for everything, but yeah, because I just hate the idea of Legendary does a bunch of autosaves, and I don't know that there's that big of a difference in terms of the difficulty itself with the AI. I don't know if it actually makes a difference or if it just makes it so that you can't save when you want. And I find that a little annoying. I want to be able to know exactly when I'm saving and not have the game just kind of pause for a second while it decides that it's going to save. So I think we'll do very hard for everything. I just tried a Mercia campaign recently myself, so I don't think we're going to do that. And I did strat Clued on the channel a little while ago, or attempted it anyway. I do like me some Gaelic kingdoms, but probably Northumbria is my favorite faction. But it's also been a while since I've done Sudrayar, so I think we'll go with that. So this is a Sea Kings faction. You get some bonuses to fighting at sea, which you would expect from a Viking faction. You get a couple specific mechanics. There's expeditions, which are kind of like missions you can set off, but you need to meet certain conditions first, and you get some bonuses. It's really not as exciting as it sounds. Tribute, this is a mechanic that we'll be kind of keeping our eye on if possible. And then we have a few other things that we'll check out once we get into the campaign. This is very nice, though. Plus 15% campaign movement range for all armies. Really good up here where we're kind of far from everything. So I think we'll just start the campaign. I am going to skip the intro stuff, and we'll see how that works. All right. Hi there, Loic. Good to see you. So I'm curious if you could help me out here. I don't know what you're looking at right now. Are you able to see the game? Are you looking at my OBS stuff? I'm going to try to remember to keep the chat box small and out of your way. I'm assuming you can see that. The game is just kind of loading up at the moment, so we're just going to have a black screen, or it's just going to look like that, I guess. All right, you can see my OBS. All right, shoot. I was hoping it would be, I was hoping that would be hidden because I've got it set to game capture. So I was hoping that you wouldn't, that I was hoping that I could sneakily tab out, check the chat, and then sneakily get back to the game so it didn't seem like I was doing this scrapped together unprofessional, single window thing. Yeah, I know. Time for a second monitor. I don't see it fitting on our desk, is the thing. All right, well, I'm hoping the game's going to load up here. I have noticed that when I tab out and the game is, loading the campaign, it won't let me go back in. Not that we'd really be able to see anything, because it's just, we would just look at that. It's getting there, though. Hi, Nils. Hi, Sigger. Yeah. Yes. All right, are we, kind of embarrassing. I should have started in the middle of the campaign here. One very cool thing about all this is that the stream, which I'm rather embarrassed by, that I did yesterday, because it's on the channel and it's got like 100 views, which is really a lot for me. So I imagine a lot of it was people sort of popping in and seeing that I clearly didn't know what I was doing and then leaving. But yeah, I was hoping that I could get some of the kinks worked out here today. All right, here we go. We're back up to the screen. I hope you can see the game now. I'm going to go ahead and start. And I will skip this little intro cinematic, and I'm also going to skip her intro stuff. So I will periodically tab out to sort of check comments or so, but let me know if you see anything weird. I mean, apart from the usual stuff here. But yeah, so Thrones of Britannia. I have seen a lot of people within the past year or two stream this sort of as a joke, like an ironic thing. And so I made a series of a Let's Play where I did Strat Clute, and the first episode was called, I think, unironically playing Thrones of Britannia, because all these, much more successful YouTubers than I have sort of decided that this is a bad game, and it is not to be enjoyed because it is bad. Now, I understand that there's a lot of complaints about this, and when it came out, it may have done things very differently. I have only played the most recent version, so I can't speak to the initial release. But what I see is a fairly polished game. I prefer it to stuff like Attila and Rome 2, which I know is not a popular opinion. It's just so easy to jump into this campaign and have a good time. The mechanics are kind of logical. I'm a huge fan of the period, so of course that helps. And really what gets me is the campaign, not so much the battles. People say the strength of Thrones is the battles, particularly the sieges. But for me, it's the campaign. And I think that's a really strange statement probably for a lot of people to hear, because all you hear is that it's stripped stuff out and all of that. So anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about that, but let's see how this goes here. We've got our typical first mission, which is defeat the rebels, and you get some public order for 5 turns, and you get some extra unit replenishment. So that's pretty good stuff. However, we do have some loyalty problems. So let's take a look at that. Okay, this is one of our governors here, Cormacher. Now his loyalty is 1. Let's take a look at his stats and see if he's worth anything. He is, let's see. Okay, so he's making us a bit of money. Got some extra governance, which is helping with construction and corruption. So he's actually a pretty good guy, actually fantastic for public order. So each point of zeal is going to give you an extra public order. And he's also just, so that's giving him just a flat +3. So this is a guy I really want around as a governor. So one way we can deal with loyalty, we could just ignore it, I guess. But if we ignore it and it goes down to 0, he can rebel. And 1 is close enough so that if something bad happens, he could just rebel, and that would be a huge problem. And he's the governor of, like, our capital, essentially. So one thing we could do is spend some cash up front to secure his loyalty. We could increase it by like 1 or 2 points, let's say. But sometimes it backfires, and it can also have negative effects. The other thing is we can mouse over and see that part of his disloyalty is that he's more influential than the ruler. So that's giving him a -2 right there. So we could lower his influence, bring it down to 7. Let's see what our king's influences is. That's 6. So that would do it. That would get him down from 7 down to 5, and he would no longer be more influential than the ruler. That would give him another couple points of loyalty. So those are all options. We could adopt him as well. That would increase his loyalty, but we do have a son, and that would hurt this guy's loyalty. So another thing I like to try, even though it's really just rolling the dice, is seek wife. Perfect. Perfect. What are the odds? I don't know. Maybe they're pretty good, but usually when I want this to work, it doesn't. So this is fantastic. She gives him a +2 loyalty right off the bat. +2 to faction allegiance is also awesome. So we'll take her hand, and that resolves that problem. Wonderful. Let's take a look at where is our capital settlement here. Okay, Borneas of Sudreyar here. So that +2 to allegiance, faction allegiance, is really nice. If you go over the little faction icon, it tells you what the allegiances breakdown are. And you can see that Sudreyar, which is my faction, has only 70% faction allegiance here. We've got Scottish kingdoms making up, you know, 1/3 essentially of the allegiance. And that's going to play a role in public order. So we want to increase our allegiance in this province to make the public order better. Now, in the majority of Total War games, you would not worry about the public order of your homeland, right? Like a starting territory, you just wouldn't care about. You'd be like, okay, this is not going to rebel. It's going to be fine. But with this one, it really does matter, and there's a lot of fluctuation. So from turn to turn, events may occur that are going to really change up how things work. Okay, one thing that we do have to worry about is we've got a bit of a disparity in our forces. We've got our king here with 6 units, and then we've got 3 more over here, and this is our heir kettle. The trait system on Thrones is also really nice. Much more variety than you find in like Attila, but not as I don't know, not as weird as it is in Rome 2. I'm not a huge fan of Rome 2's campaign stuff. I know there's a lot of depth to it, but I don't like dealing with it aesthetically. It's very cluttered. But anyway, okay, so this guy is decent. He's got a couple command stars, some zeal. Extra melee skill is nice. Unit morale is good when attacking, and actually he's fearless and bloodthirsty, so that's a total of +8 to morale when he's the attacker. So we want to make sure he's going to be attacking, I guess. And that'll actually help because we want to build up his influence, and we need to start taking some territory to do that. Unfortunately, his wife's a gossip, so I think we may want to get him divorced. Once we get the loyalty a little bit better, maybe we can find him a better wife, because divorcing, you know, forcing your family members to divorce tends to make them feel bad about you. Okay, so I think what I'll do here is we'll just do this battle, right? We're going to have to do it anyway. We've got no cav. They're going to have some cav. They're going to have a nice, probably a nice slope to defend on. So we'll jump right in. This will allow me to tab out, and it will allow you to see my OBS setup, apparently. Hey, Sudreyar, nice. Yes, yes, I love Sudreyar. Sudreyar was one of the first factions I played. I have a bit of a Scottish family history, I guess you could say. And so the very first faction I played, I think I tried to play, was Strat Clut, before I understood how the game worked at all, and failed miserably. You know, I lost some territory immediately, and I didn't understand that there weren't any garrisons and all that. Then the first game I really played and won on normal difficulty was Kirkin, and that's just a really interesting faction. I do want to play them again soon. But then Sudreyar, and they're a lot of fun. All right, so we're loading a little quicker here now that we've gotten into the campaign once. I think the loading in between battles and turns is maybe not going to be so bad. Possibly this is affected by the fact that I'm streaming. But when I was recording, my Let's Play for Strat Clut, I noticed the same thing. And I eventually was able to figure out how to edit, so I could cut that stuff out. I'm not sure if I can do that of a stream, though, like retrospectively go back and edit. That's one thing I should have checked. We're almost there. Another faction that's a huge amount of fun is Mead, the native Irish faction, and Dublin. I mean, they're all pretty good. Probably my least favorite though is gonna be Wessex. They have a lot to start off with, and it's a shame because Wessex really feels like it is the star of the show. Like that's who they've got on the cover, you know, King Alfred and all that. But it doesn't play out in a terribly fun way, in my opinion. Well, let's see what our units look like. They're going to be pretty grubby. We're dealing with the low tier stuff at the beginning of the campaign, but here's our king, Eric. Let's see if we can find the man himself. Yes, he's got a sort of a biscuit-looking hat on, I guess, for a crown. There's a kind of weird visual effect on the mail of these guys. It's very kind of sparkly and stuff. But at any rate, maybe that's something to do with my system. Yeah, so we've got this weird hill. We're going to be attacking over there. If we kill these guys, then we're going to get some public order in all of our territory and some extra replenishment. We've got one unit of spears, so I kind of want to lead with him. Spearmen! And what else do we have? Fighters, Axemen, and Warband. Okay, so we've got two flavors of Axemen. We've got the, it seems like the lower tier. This is the Levy guys, the Eastman Fighters. And then we've got the Eastman Axemen. So I guess one thing we could do is take a look at their actual stats here. So here's the Eastman Axemen. They're the retinue axe infantry, so their armor is going to be, you know, better. Their morale probably is going to be a lot better. And then for the Eastman Fighters, yeah, they've got half as much armor, considerably lower morale. They are faster, but that's about it. These guys also, the Eastman Axemen, get a couple of, what is it, Raider and Disciplined. So that's nice. Otherwise, I'd like to play with that out of the way. But, okay, let's run up to the top of the hill. This is not going to be great for our fatigue. One annoying thing about this battle is, of course, you know, dealing with the enemy cav and chasing them off the field, because we don't have any cav of our own. I could have trained some up. You could do a thing of getting into a settlement or making a fort, but I find it's usually reasonable to jump in to these fights without a lot of prep. Okay, so actually they've got a couple of cav units, right? This is their male petar. I don't speak Gaelic at all, so I have no idea how to pronounce that. Get everybody down here. We're in the trees, but they're going to have archers too, and this is going to be pretty awkward. Archers are in sight. So, what do they have? Not, you know, not too much.
Hasten yourselves. Battle awaits. Quicken the pace. With speed, warriors. Archers.
So we're shooting uphill at their archers. We have taken a couple losses, but they've done a lot better than we have. We're down to 54. They're at 58. So enemy archers always seem to do better in this game than I do. I mean, not always, but part of this is perhaps that they have the height advantage.
Spearmen, move it, men! Axemen! Our foes will fall. Here they come.
All right, so spearmen coming down the hill.
Axemen.
And this, okay, they've got axemen coming.
Hasten yourselves.
I can get a bit of high ground off of them, maybe.
Spearmen. Our foes will fall.
The enemy are on us!
Okay, they've got Cav there.
Under enemy fire!
Let's go down from the hill. And our spears are getting involved.
Archers! Where's the fight?
Where did they come from?
Axemen!
To victory!
Glory and plunder!
So we're going into their Alban Levy spearmen.
Overrun them!
Caterin Levy is shaken already.
Crush them! Forward! They're charging us!
And their cavalry is just staying up and throwing javelins into our backs.
State your orders!
So yeah, their cav is pulling away.
Attack!
Morale is more sensitive in this game too, it seems.
Missiles!
Take cover!
The Hero Archers are gonna rout in those archer duels.
Don't break them!
Battle awaits!
Okay, we're getting them cut down pretty well. Not sure how we're gonna catch those calves, so I guess we may want to start targeting them. Alright, enemy general's dead. He's got 4 men left, so let's use our spears for some other duty.
General! Axemen! Got them! End them!
Run them down!
Bring death! Ready! Crush them!
So ideally in this first battle, you want to
Fire a volley!
kill them. You don't want to rout them off the field because they're not just going to melt away, right?
Where did they come from?
And if they withdraw with a lot of men and the army's still technically intact, then you're not going to have won or met that first objective. So
Fire your missiles!
okay, our guys are just standing there for some reason.
Well fall. Bring down! Crush them!
Let's follow them, I guess, and
Axemen!
there's probably some other archers that are still alive. Yeah, there's a lot of guys left, 67, so we got half a unit here. They're shattered, so they're going to flee, but they're still going to be a force for us to deal with later. Okay, here's the Alban Raiders.
Battle orders! Spearmen! Crush them! See, they flee before our might. Forward!
Okay, I think that broke. No, it didn't. They're going to break pretty soon.
Archers!
Alright, you know what? I'm just going to run these guys up.
Brace for a charge!
We may as well break everybody so we can
Glory and plunder!
win this battle and move on. Okay, so they're actually going to stand and fight us here. But there we go. Victory. You know, I think we may as well end the battle. Yeah. Okay. It did what it needed to do. Yeah, Orkney. The Orkney faction drags you into war with all the other Scottish factions. That's true. The thing that I want to do here is fight Orkney and take it for myself. It seems very fitting because I want to be Orkney, right? Like I've read some of the sagas, and there's a book called, what is it? Reddening the Eagle's Claw, something like that. It's basically the poetry of this this Jarl of Orkney from like the 12th century, and it's really great stuff. But we're not playing Orkney; we're playing Sudreyar, right? Which is, you know, it's cool and everything, but you sort of want to be Orkney because they stuck around for a while. Okay, so let's see. We are going to do the typical thing for me is to just take on warriors to get more replenishment. I don't think we need like an extra 100 loot.
March on!
So that did not win us the battle, But can we fight them again? Yeah, we can. All right. So we'll auto-calc this one. And I think balanced ought to do it. Yes, and I did get the blood pack. Ridiculously over the top blood pack. All right.
Success is rewarded.
Mission succeeded. Pretty straightforward there. And we have a follower. So this is one of the ways you sort of level up your generals and governors. And it's a pretty neat system. It would be cool if there was some variety in between factions, because every single faction gets a champion and a scribe and a priest and so on. And I think the inclusion of this this Christian religious stuff may be what turned off some people, because they want to play Vikings and heathen Vikings and all this, but that's not super historically accurate. I am sad to say, not really, but a lot of the Vikings in this period did convert. Guthrum, I think, the king of East Anglia in this period, is a Christian, and so there's not this robust pagan, heathen versus Christian dichotomy in Thrones of Britannia, because it wouldn't really reflect what you saw going on in the period, at least from my own understanding. So what do we want to give this guy? We could give him another rank of command, which would give him, I guess, a slightly better rally, more bodyguard size, a little extra morale. It doesn't seem too great. We could give him, that would be giving him the champion. Sort of, I like Bard because it gives you a ton of replenishment, and Zeal is nice. It helps public order in the local province and morale and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, let's do that.
Our foes shall fall.
Now the next job is going to be to decide what to do with the heir and his army. We could, let's see. We also start with this, don't we? I always forget about this. We've got a Governor Gisley who's feeling pretty happy about us. I mean, we got some good traits with these guys. I can't remember if these traits are fixed or if they, are kind of randomly rolled. But this guy's looking pretty decent. So we got some public order on him. He's boring, which is actually great because you don't want your generals to have a lot of influence. The more influence they have, if it's higher than that of the faction leader, they're going to be disloyal. Okay, he's discreet. That's good. This is really, really good stuff. All around, everything's good. Let's see, 42. I kind of feel like we don't need to spend money on a wife for him, but let's try it. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Extra public order. Extra zeal. We've been doing great. So Iona, this is another interesting thing, and this does strike me as a little weird. So you're playing Sudreyar, right? You're playing the Sea Kings, but you get what I assume is supposed to be Iona. I don't know why there's the U, I-O-U-A. Maybe that's more historically accurate, but this is like Iona, right? Big, important monastery, and so you can upgrade it, and therefore, if you are playing as Sudreyar, you can access monastery-like tech way sooner than a lot of other factions who seem like they should be able to do that. Like, okay, so for example, libraries. This whole community stuff depends on you upgrading a monastery or conquering one. And the monasteries are pretty much clustered on the west side of the map. Like, you're talking Ireland and, like, northwestern Scotland, I think. Maybe there's one in, like, central Scotland. But, so it's kind of weird. You could get a library super early. But we're not going to worry about that. What I like to do is I'd like to take out Galgoidal. So they have this nice long neck. What is this? Kintyre? Something like that. But we could get these places, get Dunat, and then we could have a nice launching pad into Ireland or down into the western coast of Britain. So it might be good to head there. Let's take a look at the diplomacy. And this is another reason I really enjoy this game, is because the diplomacy seems fairly logical. You can move it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. With a game like Attila, which I keep bringing up Attila because I want to enjoy that game so badly, and it's so close for me to just loving it, but I can't quite get there because there's just some weird stuff. Like diplomacy, you're pretty limited. It's pretty, how do I put it? Like, it's pretty fixed, right? Like, you have to do some real hard work to move the needle on diplomacy. But with Thrones, like with a lot of the other features of Thrones, there's a lot of back and forth, and some of it is random. So it makes it a much more varied and exciting sort of campaign. But this is giving us our, I guess, how they feel about us kind of thing. So we can see that Kirkin doesn't like us. Stratklut's a little hostile, but Galgoidel does like us. Unfortunately, Galgoidel also owns some territory that I think really should be ours, right? What is this? The region Iowa. Where's the other Iowa province? Don't know why I'm not seeing that. Let's take another look. Iowa. Here it is. Yeah, why isn't it saying province? Oh, Drumalbin, that's why. The name of the province isn't Iona. The name of the province is Drumalbin. All right. So we really want this to complete the province, and this has some food is the other thing. It's got iron, which is going to hurt public order as we level it up, because people don't like to be around smelters, I guess. But fishing, food, that's super important in this game, so we kind of have to target it. We're not super rich in food, but a lot of it is going to come from our fish and upgrading that resource. There's some fish up here. Again, Orkney, do we want to attack them just yet? We start off with a military alliance with Orkney. We may as well use that for a little while and then betray them, right? Galgoidel loves us, but we don't have any contact with them. So I think what I'll do is get my heir, and we can train 4 units. And this will help us start working on tech. So what should we train? I don't know the roster super well, but because Sudreyar is a Viking faction, they're going to get lots of varieties of axes, and one that they're going to get is basically berserkers, so shield biters. Now we're going to need to research tech to unlock them. Whoops. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, so it's the melee thing. So that means in order to get shield biters and berserkers, we need to first start training sword and axe guys. So let's get that going right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course they start at low numbers and gradually muster over a few turns. The kind of unintentionally funny thing about the blood mod is that it starts them off all bloody like they've been wounded in battle, but really it's supposed to just represent, you know, the low numbers don't represent that they've been wounded, it's just that they're slowly being gathered.
We'll see.
Okay, so that was a pretty significant investment, but I think it's worth it. And we should level up some food. So this is going to be the cheaper one to go with. 35, that gets 30. So let's go here, Dunbacane. We'll go with that and end the season. Yeah, so the sagas, well, okay, it depends. I've read, Orkneyinga saga. Yep, that's one. I've read a lot of the Icelandic ones, not all of them because there are a ton. But I'm trying to think. I had a book that came out probably 20 plus years ago, the Sagas of the Icelanders. And it's not, there's like a couple of editions of the book. There's one that's like 4 volumes. It's got hundreds of them. But then there's another version that's like kind of abridged. It's got, it's got the big stuff like Egil Saga. Oh, that's a big one. That's a good one. Njals, I just read that like last year. Saga of Burnt Njal, I guess. Again, the names, I've only read them, so I don't know how they're really supposed to be pronounced. So we got some wars going on here. West Sax, Heimelborg, a bunch of stuff that doesn't really concern us. Ulaid and Brega, I guess, might be worth watching because that's in Ireland. But honestly, Brega's probably not going to be long for the world. All right, Gisli can level up. And he's our governor of Drumalbin. So one of the most powerful followers to level up is a priest for just about every character. You can see that each level gives an extra point of loyalty, and that's really important if you're playing on the higher like politics difficulties. But also it increases faction allegiance. If you're using this on a general, it's slightly less important, maybe, but it can be useful in an offensive way because it decreases public order in an enemy province, if your general is out there, and it decreases the enemy campaign movement range in the same province where this character is located. So this is really strong, and I'm not sure exactly what the priest is supposed to be doing to do all of this stuff, but I think you can't really go wrong with loyalty and faction allegiance. We are increasing it, but down here you notice that Drumalbin has only 61% is loyal to us, so we need to work that out. But it will work itself out. All right, and we've got a few, let's see, 3 turns before we're going to get a little bit more food. We can get a few more units. Now, over to the east, we kind of have to watch these factions. Fortru and Kirkin start with a kind of alliance. And then you've got this wild card here, Athfolkla, and I'm probably not pronouncing that right either, but this guy, when you're playing Kirkin, is really dangerous because he can kind of backstab you. But if you're not playing Kirkin, who knows, right? He might start to go west. But we're gearing up to move down here, so maybe I should get my king back towards Abercrossen. And I don't think I'm going to do a bunch of training with this guy. He is a really good commander, but it might just be good to keep him around so that if we get attacked by one of these guys, he can respond. But the west coast of Scotland is really difficult to move around. There's settlements that you think you should be able to land at, like this one, but you'll notice that there's not actually a beach or anything, so you can't actually get here from the sea. It's kind of weird. You have to go like all the way down here, get this settlement, walk all the way up the peninsula, because this is not coastal either, Dunat. So there's a bit of weirdness with that element of it. Okay, we do have some money, so what else can we spend on? I guess we could keep going up the food chain. That would give us another 10. Yeah, why not? Yeah, Njal Saga. Okay, so good thing I'm noticing here, I don't know if the lag is as bad as it was yesterday. We were having some lag with the chat, so hopefully it's not as bad. Yeah, 600 hours of love-hate with Attila, right. It really does. I keep going back to Attila. I have not uninstalled Attila. I have uninstalled Rome 2 out of necessity, but I've kept Attila, and in fact, I just recently was playing a little Age of Charlemagne. Right, did I end the season? Yeah, I guess we did, but we just got no news.
Enemy blood will flow. To greater plunder.
All right.
We serve to the end.
So those are the armies. Yeah, we've got 2,000 in the bank, but I think we probably don't need to build up anything just yet. Let's see if anything diplomatically. One of our mechanics is tribute. So we want to be bullying other people and getting money out of them. That's going to be improving our tribute stat. So we kind of need to get strong. See how this works. Okay, we've got Pagan Kings. Tribute. All right. It's pretty low right now. What are we at the... we're at this level. There's a natural decline involved. We do have a bonus to upkeep cost, which is nice. But we need to fight more battles, we need to demand payments, and we need to go on expeditions, which is something we can't do quite yet. What else? Sacking, raids, so we can go on raids to improve it. Tech, certain techs can increase it. Events, decrees, natural decline. All right, so there can be penalties associated with this. What else do we have? Okay, Pagan Kings, right. So this is something that I think was added in one of the patches for Thrones that tried to simulate, a bit of this tension between the different religions that may be present at this period. Because I don't mean to imply that there were no pagans among the Vikings, just that it's not as much of a pagan crusade perhaps as it may sometimes be conveyed. But at any rate, for the Sea Kings, you start off as your kings anyway, start off as pagan kings. And this has certain bonuses and penalties associated with it. We've got fantastic unit morale, plus 12 to that for all of our armies. We do have to suffer with some usurper allegiance. I guess the idea is, in this worldview, every man can go off and strike out and become his own man, right? And so that means that your underlings are less likely to remain under you. And then you get some extra unit replenishment. But we're going to have some choices that will surface eventually in the campaign, where we will have to decide, do we want to remain pagan? Do we want to convert to Christianity just as the king? Or do we want to convert everybody forcibly to Christianity? And each of those are going to have their own bonuses and penalties as well. And I'm not quite sure what the best option is.
My skills are growing.
All right, who is this? Cormac. Okay, great. It's good to have him get a bit of a level up before going off. Another really good skill is Quartermaster. So he's still got more influence in the ruler. So Priest might be kind of a good one, but Quartermaster, I think we're going to go with that for the long distances that he's going to have to travel. Just one season for some more food. And the other thing we could do is I could bring the king over and combine these forces together, but I don't think we really need to worry about that. I am a little troubled by this, and I'm not seeing them fighting Orkney at all. So Orkney's just hanging out. Looks like they're training their own men, though. And not much to tell in Ireland. But we'll need to get our own troops together before we start fighting Galgoidal. Of course, the other option would be to go for Kirkin, right? Just head over on the east side of the island. Okay, here they go. Just like you said. Orkney is attacking Galgoidal. Okay, well, geez, that's perfect. Yeah, let's, oh, geez, do I want to attack Galgoidal or do I want to break the alliance with Orkney? Because that could get us some easy territory that's relatively safe, too. I'd really like to get this. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why they declared war on Galgoidal. They're really far away. But let's take it for now. They're probably trying to screw me up is what they're doing. Because they know that Galgoidal is not going to be able to touch them. So now I've got to get my my prince down to Iona to defend against this. Okay, we've got a mission issued from our field of assembly. This is one of the mechanics, I guess, that you get. Every now and then you get these missions. In war, you take what you can. Your thing urged you to have your army sack an enemy settlement, showing no mercy. To demonstrate to the enemy just what they face, your warriors would strip it of everything of worth, kill or drive off the inhabitants, then raze the place to the ground and salt the very earth. I don't know that they would have salted the earth, but in any case, we need to sack, and we'll get 1,000 of cash for that. So Wicking Raiders south of Britannia, that's fine. Kettle is pleasant, giving him some more influence, which is always a little bit potentially dangerous. We've got our fishing village. That gives us, that only gave us 10 extra food. And now we can coordinate. The thing we have to watch out for is for Galgoyle stealing territory from us and for Orkney taking that territory. But let's get down here. Okay, actually, this is good. Actually, it's good for him to get the pleasant trait, get the extra influence, because he will be the king someday, and we want the influence to be high for that reason. So we should have no trouble getting to Iona before this army does. And we do have a bit of cash to spend now. We've been holding off. So I guess we could go for fishing jetties. We got 3 seasons for that. We could wait another 6. What could we do in Drumalbin, though? To give us like 5 more food. Extra trade. Leveling up the major building in a settlement is also going to give us some extra garrison. I'm wondering if it's worth doing this. I don't think so, though, because we don't really have that much food. This would take up all the food we currently have. This would be very expensive, but let's do that. Oh no, lag. Well, yeah, it's my internet. Okay, so you can watch the chat update. Okay, that's good to know. So you will type something in, and then you'll wait for it to appear on the screen, which you can always see, I assume. Yeah, my internet connection is not the best. That's a shame. I think there's something I can do. I tried to find out what that was, but I'll delve into it a little bit more and see if there's any options. There's a setting. Geez, I don't know that I want to redo it now, but maybe I'll try it next time, where you have sort of an option when you go to stream, where you can like set the. It doesn't really matter. It's just there's 3 settings. I went with the middle one. I could go with the other one, which I think is like graphics are worse, but you get quicker feedback. See, I would love to just sail over here and take that, but obviously we can't. So they're going to appear down here and then sail up here. What we want to do is we want to get this. I don't necessarily want to sack it, but that's okay. We will have that mission kind of forever, so that's totally fine. Oh, good. Stratclute and Northlaid are going to war. I mean, I guess that's good. It's giving them something to do, not in our territory. Let's take a look at those objectives, by the way. So this is just the only mission we have currently. Just sack anything. Victory conditions. So I really like this. We could go for different types of victories. The kingdom victory for Sudrayar is really interesting. You need to get a certain number of ports, and then that's kind of how you win. So I like that. Fame victories I always like to try for, but it seems so difficult because you've got to build up a lot of fame points. And one way to do that is by getting monasteries, and also you have to get certain settlements, which are often kind of weird in how they're set up. Okay, if we train this swordsman, we'll be able to research some tech. So now we have the food to do that, and we'll start going down the melee units chain. In a couple of more turns, we will have some more food, and we'll wait a couple more turns, then we can recruit a unit of shield biters. That's got a fear effect, and it'll be great. Looks like they're going to attack Orkney. I guess that's all right. Anything else we want to spend money on? I mean, I guess we could spend money on money. That'd give us a little bit, but it's like everything we own. All right, this is cheaper. Drumalbin public order is pretty decent. It's currently 4. If we go with the bronze works, that's not going to hurt public order any more than it currently is. And it's going to give us some extra cash. I guess with the lag with the chat, I mean, we could think of this as an asynchronous, like a asynchronous adjacent kind of experience. It's like it's a turn-based chat, if you will. The other thing that I'd like to resolve is the stream I tried yesterday just stopped, and I am not sure why. So either the connection just completely lost it, but I don't think that was the case, or maybe I did something to end the stream early. Okay, let me double check Galgoidal, because I think they are also a Sea Kings faction technically. Yeah, so that would mean that they do not suffer penalties in sea battles. So we could fight a sea battle against them, but I'm not very confident in my ability with those. So I think we will not go with that. Okay, Fortru is just kind of moving around. And no sign of Galgoidal yet. We're in Iona here, where we do have a pretty substantial force. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus 8 is 17. I think the army they're sending up is like 13 or something. So I think we should be fine. We're going to get this guy, this Norse warrior unit, up to full strength probably by the time they get there. Alright, now the other thing we could work on is salt. If we go with the salt pans, that'll give us an extra 10 food, but it hurts public order. This is better for public order, the salt cellar, but does not give us any extra food, but it does give us money. So I'm thinking that, look at the public order here. It's at -1. And again, this is our capital. I mean, I love this. This is great. What are the factors? We've got -2 from buildings. That's from the salt. Characters are... So if this guy was not so good, if Cormac didn't have all these bonuses, the personality, then we'd be at -8. And that's, you know, that's a percentage chance of a rebellion. So that'd be significant. We do have a chance of rebellion now. And I also like this way. There's a dice roll to it. With Attila, there was a... I think it just counts down, right? And when it gets to a certain number, then you have your rebellion. But I like the uncertainty of this aspect of it. Well, and then we've got Allegiance, which is contributing 4. So we could see that disappear if we get our Allegiance up. But notice that we've got the Sudreyar usurpers who are making up a pretty substantial chunk.
You can rely on us.
Yeah. All right. Here they come. 13. Oh, I hope they come to Iona. Train warriors, and we have to choose one of these to add to recruitment. So I guess we'll go with Axemen. We're kind of working up that that chain anyway. All that does is it means that we can train more axes. So if I look here, we've now got 3 out of 3 and 2 out of 2 here instead of, this would probably be nothing. These would just be 1 each. So that's kind of a nice little bonus, because otherwise you're kind of limited by the recruitment pool, which again is a thing that I like. All right, North Lao to Northumbria. Oh, interesting. All right, so probably between Stratclute and Northumbria, North Lao is probably going to fall. Although it looks like they get some significant territory right now, but this game can really change quickly. And did we also... We got our fishing jetties. Nice. So we could get another unit of something.
You can rely on us.
Well, if we wait 2 more turns, that'll be one of these guys, shield biters. Although it says 7 turns to replenish, so we may need to wait longer. So maybe we want to get something now. Cav would be useful. But I think spears. Spears are just cooler. They're classic, right?
We will bring you glory.
Alright, in terms of buildings, okay, these are done. In 5 more seasons, we'll have enough, we'll have up to 10 food here. And that means we can train another thing. So that'll be nice. I can't see where that Galgoidal army went.
Our foes will suffer.
So I'm thinking I want to get the king out of here. What do we have in Abercrossen? Okay, that's not too bad. It's at 3. Public order. But we'll bring him down to Borneus because I think we have like 8 or 9 units here, and the 6 from the king is going to make that more considerable. Alright, how can we change the view to... Yeah, faction ownership. I just like that. I like the look of this better. Okay, so not too much has changed, really. Ah. Let's see. I wonder if it is a graphics card thing. I'm not sure. Yeah, so internet is not even an option of being able to pay for it. It's you have to you have to take what you are given based on where you live, is what it seems to be here. And I live in a fairly rural part of the state, so... Alright, Ledeborg is gone. We're going to lose a lot of Borgs early in the campaign, as they, kind of in the central eastern part of England there. We got some more wars going on in Ireland. Okay. Here we go. 13 men. Okay, they got some spear herdmen, and they're going to be at Borneus in a couple of turns, and so am I. Jeez.
Never.
Let's see. Yeah, they could get all the way up here, and then... So I guess it depends on who goes first. But I think I'm going to get there before they will. Unless they decide to come over here, which would be awesome. I'd love to have a nice big siege defense battle. Because that can be fun. Alright, now we've got enough money to start building something else. We could also go with this. This would give us a nice 20 food with no downsides. I think given that we're not really spending money on anything else, we may as well. Although I say that. And then we're going to have some like disloyalty event. It's going to require us to spend a bunch of cash. Oh no, they're going north. Which means they could go to any of my villages and be kind of guaranteed to take it. And that looks like what they're doing.
I have achieved greater rank.
Alright, Gisli's keen on fishing. That's fine. And we've got our shield biters, theoretically. Kettle. Okay, so this is the heir. What do we want with him? Oh, did I give the wrong guy quartermaster? I think I did. Let me just check this. I think I gave... Yep. That's completely useless. I gave Cormac the quartermaster. So he's the governor. And movement range is completely pointless for him. Now, eventually, you know, they'll get some upkeep cost for units that are in the governed province, but I'm not going to have units just standing around. So that's really disappointing. Okay, but Kettle, geez, I guess yes, we'll go with quartermaster for Kettle. That's what I wanted to do in the first place. So where is this boat pointed?
No.
God, that's just awful. Oh, and because we've got specialists, we can now retrain these guys into Eastman Marauders. It's going to increase their armor by a little bit, their shield by 5, their morale by 2. Speed's going to go down as they get more armor. Okay, so that's nice. You know, I could just turn around.
Not possible.
They got 13 men. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is kind of tempting. Let's do this.
Fit and ready.
Yeah. You're going to go there, I'll go here. I don't know how they've built up their buildings here, but they've got nobody stationed there.
Fleet stands ready.
Alright, they're only at a level 1 fishing hamlet, but that's for 35 food. And so that'll make up
Bring death.
the loss that we're about to get, I have a feeling. They've got 13 men. Part of me wants to just have my king fight him out. Let's see, we got 3 turns for 1 more unit.
The fleet stands ready.
They can't reach Borneus, so I may as well put this guy in Dunbacane.
No.
And if they go for Apricrossan, we'll kind of know about it. But yeah, hopefully in a little while we'll have enough food so that we can train another guy. And, you know, if necessary, I can disband guys down here, I guess, and train them up here. Okay, Hakon is at low loyalty. He's at a 1. Oh, he just came of age, that's why. So he is a statesman who is not doing anything currently. He's got no wife. He's one of my sons. He's not too happy with just sitting around, and he kind of sucks. He's a gambler. He's a public speaker, which is hurting usurper allegiance. Ugh, you're going to be a problem. All right, let's try the wife trick. Yeah. It's not terrible, but it's also not giving me much. I'm going to take it on the off chance that he gets the chuffed to bits trait. And that is something you can get, or a character can get after they marry. Alright, I think we want melee skill. And that can give him like an extra loyalty. Yeah, so that's a good point, Nils. I'm wondering if the stream was something to do with, yeah, are you getting further and further behind in terms of the lag? Or is it that we were so lagged that by the time I ended the stream, it stopped everything, but it didn't have time to catch up, if you know what I mean? And if that's the case, what I would do to address that is quote-unquote end the stream, but really leave it streaming for like 5+ minutes. And just have nothing showing. And then hopefully it would save everything. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, clearly. Okay, the joys of spring. Awesome. Chuffed to bits. Didn't I just say that? So, yeah, see? All right, -1 influence and +1 loyalty. The new active trait group is cowardly. So let's take a look at that. This is something that took me a little while to figure out. But the active trait group, I think this little house with a gold circle behind it indicates which trait group is active. Cowardly is active now for Hakon, which means that he is going to get various bonuses or penalties depending on which estates he owns. He does not have any estates currently, so this actually doesn't do anything for him. But if we look at like our king, he's got a couple of trait groups, heroic and virtuous, and I don't think either of them is active. But you know, when they are, they're going to have different bonuses or penalties depending on what estates he has. I think for estates he only has farm estates. Actually, he may not have any farm estates. Let's take a look at the governors and estates. Yeah, there's no agricultural estates here. We're getting food, but it's all from fish, and so that doesn't count as an estate. But if you get farms, and we actually can't see any farms because they're so far away, but there are some over here. There are some down here. We could find them on the map, and if we go to the diplomacy screen, actually they'll show them. Yeah, so there's farms on the east side, farms down here, farms in Ireland, you know, eventually. So probably this is the closest one to us. But those agricultural estates are great because they're ways to get more food, obviously. Not just the farm itself, but the estate. If your king has an agricultural estate, there's a chance that he's going to get more food for his people. And it also gives your king more influence. So I think we've convinced them that we are a threat. So good. Let's go over here. Take Keldaltane.
Agreed.
Now this is going to hurt public order. I should have checked the public order first. I think I just want to occupy it.
Without delay.
I know that we have a mission to sack settlement, but that's going to still be around. This is going to mean we don't have to repair the buildings. Public order is going to be fine. Yeah, if we'd taken that 5, that would have potentially put us down in the negative for chance for rebellion. All right, now they got 13 men coming somewhere. Maybe Iona, maybe Keldaltane. But that also means we can now train some more guys. Whoops.
We'll see this through.
All right, we'll get some shield biters for sure. And let's, yeah, get a unit of melee cav, I guess. And another unit of... I guess another unit of archers. They're cheap. This will be stuff that's just kind of nice to have. And hopefully they don't go to Iona and take it. How are we doing on food? We're going to get 20 food from the herring market. And in Iona, we've got 2 turns for another 5 food, so that'll make us a little more comfortable. But we spent pretty much everything on that. Landlines. Yeah. Well, we have high. Oh, geez, what is it? Broadband, I guess. Is that what you're talking about? We do have that allegedly, apparently, but it's not super strong. And we recently got it like within the past few years at this house. Prior to that, it was dial-up internet. And so, actually, yes, we do have landlines. Like, we have, like, house phones and stuff. It's very, very retro. Because we live kind of in a bit of a valley. So cell coverage is not great here either. Alright, Wicking is destroyed. That's kind of too bad. Alright, spiritual considerations. This is just warning you that there's going to be some choices to come ahead. You live in a time of great change. You were raised to worship the gods of your ancestors, but a new religion is taking hold coming up from the south. Your world is one of conflict and courage, and your warriors take their inspiration from the old gods. The new religion of Jesu, the White Christ, is not one that favors war, but looks instead to the welfare and happiness of the common folk. Soon you will have to choose. And so they've kind of set up this Pagan Kings mechanic as a choice between the warriors on the one hand with the paganism and the people, so public order, settlement happiness for Christianity. I guess that makes some sense, right? It's a little, I don't know, maybe a little simplistic, but it gives you a mechanic to work with. Got our bronze work, so we should be making some more money. And we've got some skills available. This is Gisli. He is a governor. So, let's see. This is Drumalbin. I have a feeling that he's going to be attacked at some point. He's 44. So he's got some time to develop still. And I'm kind of tempted to go with Siege Engineer because of that. It's almost never really worth it. You know, once you get at the second rank, you're going to have extra morale when under siege. So that's kind of nice. It's something that you maybe want to give a governor. But then there's some stuff at the higher levels, which I almost never get to, which are for catapults. And those are not going to be useful for a governor. They're something you're going to want with a general. So it's a little weird. Some of the followers, there's clear winners and losers. Okay, they are coming back. I think we've got another turn or two before they attack. Let's see. No, they could come in, and they outnumber us. So hopefully we'll have a battle here pretty soon. But this kind of maneuvering, let me just take a moment and just talk about that, because this is like the best thing about Thrones in my view. The fact that I've got only 2 armed forces right now. That's all I can support, right? I've got this unit of this army of 12 units, and then this army of 6 units. And none of these little towns have garrisons. This one does, and this one does, and that's it. And so there's a real danger that this ship of just a bunch of dudes could come over and sack this, and not sack it, but occupy it, and then I lose out on all the food, the money, and that plunges my food into a negative, that plunges my income into a negative. I start having public order problems as a result, get rebellions, get a civil war, my king's influence goes down. And so the fact is I cannot possibly defend everything. So you have to make decisions like, do I want to call these 6 guys back to join up with these 6? Or do I want to go hard into food and like I ended up doing and just train as much as I can and station them down there and then come back down here to sort of pull them back? If that didn't work, we would be facing a very different campaign. So I just love these kind of strategic choices you have to make. It's not the kind of thing you have to worry about with the other Total War games, it seems. And I do have to say, I have not played all of the Total War games. So there is that. Okay, Keldaltane, the settlement we just took. Do I want to invest in it? Maybe just a little. I'll go for this. 4 turns. It's going to give me like 5 more food. It'll be nice to have that buffer, but I'm not going to... It's not going to be so much food that I feel like I need to rely on it, if that makes sense. What you gonna do? Come on. Here they come. Awesome. Alright, so this looks like to be a proper battle. We don't have our guys all teched up yet in terms of mustering strength. And it looks like fairly even, but we have some shield biters. So I think that's going to make a difference. This is their king, actually, Anand. And I think this is the big army that they've got. I don't think they have anything else I haven't seen any other units that they've trained at any rate. And yeah, they've got a decent amount of axes. A couple of spears, kind of like we do, but their guys are in better shape overall. And they've got more ranged. Archers and even cav, so this is going to be tough. $10 Ugh. Yeah. Well, internet is bad in the States because there's a lot of variety within the States. Let me put it that way. You've got obviously the cities, you know, where you're going to have a lot better coverage, and then you've got these just a huge landmass, right, with a lot of variability in terms of coverage. So how close are we to the battle? Here we go. We can start it up. And I'm not honestly sure how this is going to go, but this is obviously a very important battle for us. One thing to note is that the settlement that we're defending is pretty much this cluster of little buildings. And I think this is like the market, right? This is the fish monger area. And then over here, and this is like the iron mining area. So these two places. There's no wall, right? There's no fortification. And you all know this if you've played Thrones. But again, for some people, this kind of thing is a deal breaker. There's like, shouldn't there be some guys here with spears who are just part of the town ready to defend it? Well, I'm glad that there are not. Because after having, you know, done some Age of Charlemagne earlier in this week, you're compelled to fight all these battles where your garrisons for these small towns are like 4 guys, like 4 units. And while I get it, and I guess it gives you a chance, it just feels like a chore at that point, and it doesn't really make all that much sense. So I like this. You know, for the time period, it seems to make sense. You're going to have a bunch of villagers living here. You're not going to have like a guard professionally stationed there. We don't have really good ground, so I'm just going to kind of pull back to the corner. But the other thing about this is we can't really depend on the structures. We could kind of do some things because some of the passages here are blocked out. Like choke off the streets or whatever. Okay, and their cav is separate from the fleet, which is just a weird concession to something. But if we let them march through the town, which we're probably going to do, they're going to be burning a bunch of these buildings, and we're going to have to repair them if we win.
Command us. We will prevail.
All right, we've got our spear herdmen, which are actually pretty nice.
Chosen by Odin.
All right, let's get these spears over here.
Herdmen.
All right, and we're going to get you into a shield wall, like I should have done before.
Spearmen. Fire on them. Naturally.
These guys are just going to shoot us with javelins. I think we're going to take care of these horsemen pretty fast, which will be nice to get rid of their cav. With one downside to the AI, because they've got their fleet, of course, for the infantry, and the cav are just sort of magically transported separately. So the AI does not really understand how to move these units together for the most part.
We're under fire. Brace for enemy charge. Our foes will fall.
Long axes, I think I'll pull back.
Spearmen up. Axemen.
Let's go in there.
Ready for war. So it is. Bowmen. Our foes have
Oh, come on.
Ride like the wind. End them. Got them. Attack.
Very clumsy stuff here.
Where did they come from? Crush them.
I think this should be enough to break the cav, though.
Where did they come from?
down to 30 men and shaken. I'd love to just have them off our backs.
Our foes have
Oh.
surprised us.
Was that literally all of their cav?
The enemy are upon us.
Okay.
Our foes have surprised us. Cavalry.
I will take it.
Where did they come from? With speed, warriors!
I'm not quite convinced. It seems like there maybe were a few more guys, but
The enemy are upon us.
Ready for war!
The enemy are here.
all right. So they're landing just now.
Follow them!
We're gonna push them away. They don't get to do the Parthian shot type of thing. They're broken but not shattered.
Archers. Our foes fire your missiles.
All right, now they're wavering.
Spearmen!
Actually, let's get you guys
Up the
back.
pace, men.
Acknowledged!
Under enemy fire.
Command us!
Archers. Our flags under attack.
All right, they'll be gone pretty soon. There's our guys all in their shield wall. The shield biters we're just keeping around for later, when we've got the big enemy numbers coming in. Okay, they are now shattered.
Chosen by Odin!
So we've got 2 Eastman Marauders. These are again the low tier guys. Eastman Axemen. I guess we'll have to see how this comes in.
Battle commence.
Axemen!
Let's see.
Cavalry. Cavalry. Archers. With speed warriors.
Battle awaits!
Make them
I guess we'll do that.
Icemen! Berserkers!
You guys can get out of shield wall. You guys can be on the right edge, I guess.
cavalry.
Long axes, if I keep them in wedge formation, it just helps me to visually organize it a bit.
Ready for war!
Because they're going to be charging in and focusing on heavily armored units, like the general.
State your orders.
I guess we'll speed that up. These Norse swordsmen are, I'm not quite sure how to handle them. The axes have better armor penetration, of course. These guys may have better defense or something, but it's not quite clear. Even if they're not, even if they don't really have a niche, they still technically have some use because of the recruitment system. So there are going to be times when I've just recruited all the axemen I can, and I'll just have to wait. So it is good to have the option of a bunch of extra swords, so you can get some melee stuff done. Okay, they've got a Hearthguard, and he's got 90 men, just like my guy does. Yeah, I can see the city, or the village burning up a little bit, so we'll have some repairing to do.
We're under fire!
Alright, they're actually firing already, which is
Shields up!
kind of too bad.
Horsemen.
Berserkers! Axemen! Steady, everyone!
Bowmen.
And they've got a couple units of javelins, too. So there's going to be, yeah, these guys right there.
It's a charge. Race.
Berserkers! Under enemy fire!
Okay, spear herdmen.
The enemy charge!
They're tired already, which is
Here
nice.
they come! Our foes will fall!
Archers. Missiles away. Horsemen. The enemy are here. Axemen. Bowmen.
Okay, let's
It will be done.
stop being weird.
Our foes have surprised us!
Our general is under
Battle orders! Quicken the pace! Hasten yourselves!
Okay, they're going up pretty much against our main guys. Pretty straightforward. We've got some axemen that I may bring around to the side, but they do have javelins, so maybe we'll wait a little while for that.
Archers. Full gallop.
Our foes will fall. I know you're tired. Swordsmen, we're taking missile fire.
All right, let's get around behind him and
Glory and plunder.
line up my axes over here so they can charge the general. But I'd like to hit the herdmen, because these are a pretty decent unit.
Crush them. Axemen. Axemen. With speed, warriors. Ready. Axemen. Axemen. The enemy are on us.
Okay, long axes, yeah, let's work on those guys.
Battle awaits.
Losing decisively, the enemy general is.
Attack! The enemy Axemen.
Right, and I'll take these guys out of shield wall now to do some sandwiching.
Where did they come from? Pull yourselves together, men. Get down!
It is kind of hard to see what's going on
Take them!
with the coloration. Looks like we're doing pretty well here so far.
Reflect us! Attack!
Yes.
Here they come! Command us! The enemy general is dead!
All right.
Battle awaits! To make bowmen! Horsemen! They got me! Axemen! Got them! Crush them! Chosen by Odin! Smash them! Herdmen! Where's the fight?
My berserkers are now out of control.
Battle awaits! Bring death! Horsemen! Forward! Archers! Herdmen! Look on the base! Move it, men! Glory and thunder! Axemen!
All right, I think we got it.
The enemy reveals the ocean favors us. Victory is ours. Cavalry!
Good, good.
The enemy are glory and plunder.
And so now we just clean up the battlefield. They're going to be tired, so hopefully that'll help catching them. All right, good. I was a little concerned about that because you just never know. But I forgot that the horses were going to come on separately from the rest of the army, so that's good. We will have to repair some of these outbuildings, unfortunately. Got some good fires going on. And I do wish that chasing routers was more satisfying in this game. It's really an engine thing, I think. But, like, I remember in Medieval 1 and Rome 1, chasing routers was not this kind of chore. I think it started with Medieval 2, actually. You can get these weird situations where your guys are just, you know, going all over the map, not staying together cohesively, and I think it's because of the animations. Like, every little fight has to be its animation, right? You've got to line up with a guy who's going to turn and obligingly duel you. So, heroic victory. Great. So, we are still streaming, at least on my end. Hopefully it is still going. We'll see. Yes. Raising is not a thing. That's right. So you can Just retake a minor settlement and get the benefits back instantly, so them having no garrison is fine. Yeah, exactly. So you can, like say I lost some of those villages, I would eventually get an army there and get them back. So you have to suffer through a few turns. I think what it is that, you know, people don't like to lose. People don't like to lose territory. I understand that. I have that feeling about a lot of games, and it certainly makes sense. But if you can sort of get into the mindset of territory changing hands back and forth, and that's just part of the way it was, it's actually a really cool thing to model in a total war game. So I really appreciate that aspect of it. Because, I mean, the villagers don't necessarily care, you know, who they're paying taxes to, right? It's all going away. And so some guys ride in with red shirts one day and tell them, all right, you know, you got to send the food to this town. And then some guys ride in another day with blue shirts and tell them something different. Okay. Yes, we've won that battle. And Northmen raiders south of Britannia, that's fine. We do have to worry about Vikings ourselves to some extent. Mostly from like the northwest and northeast. Alright, and Kettle has some upgraded equipment gained from the iron building chain. And see, this is another cool thing about the traits, is that you know why you get them for the most part. Even if they are random, it'll tell you that it's a random thing. So, because we hung out in a place with some iron, his men have extra morale. And we have taken Keldaltane, or defended it rather, and we can now kind of move on to hit Gelgoidel again. They're going to try to get away, but don't have the moves. We're going to definitely auto-resolve this. Alright, and we're going to take on warriors.
Success is rewarded.
Alright, and Kettle has some skills available. So let's keep going with the 10% movement. Oh, we could almost get here. What's this? This has 22 food. Okay, now that 22 may not be available to us. It may be a bonus, some bonuses that the governor is giving, or that the faction leader is giving, or whatever. But this does have some food output, and it's only a tier 1 building. So, and this is a kind of a good one to get. So public order here is just okay. Whoops, no. I'm going to stay on the water. Ugh, so close. But regardless, I mean, this is all they have, I think. We can start to see some stuff in Ireland now. Alright. And so we could just go up the peninsula. Now, this is going to be where things get difficult, because Dunat, their capital, has, I guess, 9 garrisons, so there's probably a governor in here. And then they've got this, which is also part of it. And then, yeah, actually, that would be, where is it? Dunabert, Dunolly, and Dunat. So we could get a whole other province here by taking these 3. So definitely want to do that. Alright, game being a little unresponsive at the moment. Let's see what we're doing. Now, I'm not playing this online, so this shouldn't matter. But maybe the computer is trying to do a lot of stuff at the moment. Let's see. Alright. Let's check out the old task manager if we can. Are we unresponsive at thrones? Not even showing it. Okay. We're back. We're there. All right, then let's get to the map if we can. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Sorry about all of this, but
Longships! Aye!
what we may find as a result of these experiments is that I just shouldn't stream. So that would be kind of unfortunate, but
My warriors are ready.
it'd be good to know sooner rather than later. And Hakon has low loyalty, but that's 2. You know, I will accept that. I'm fine with that. Oh, and we have another guy, Finn Bogey. He's just hanging out too. So, you know, as Sudrayar, food is such a problem that you've got a lot of these guys just hanging around. In other games, if I had more food, it might be nice to have some of these guys out as just like 1-unit armies to, you know, do stuff like grab a farm or whatever. But it's not really working out here. Okay, we've got all of the offices given that we can, so nothing to be done there. And I don't think we really have enough money to build anything right now. All right. Okay, now they're going to attack somebody else. This might be a good time to break the alliance. You know, let them go at it. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to help our diplomatic standing, probably, but I don't necessarily want to be fighting these guys. I don't want to have another war. Now, this may invite war from Orkney, but yeah, let's do that. See how this all plays out. Mirborg. Not sure exactly where they are, but that's fine. Gisli is imbecilic. Oh, this is a bad one. It's just an unfortunate one. It's because we don't have library or scribes anywhere. And I wish this did not kick in for... Well, I kind of wish it didn't exist at all, this trait. Because, you know, we're not that far in. Maybe 10 turns or so. And we haven't had a chance to build up library or scribes. I guess we could have if we went for it immediately, right? We could have gone with the monastery from turn 1. That would have taken 5 or 6 turns to build, and then we could have gone with our tech. But when you're playing a Viking seeking faction, I tend to not worry about the monasteries. So you're going to get some of these traits where our characters are just dumb. And it's a bit metagamey that they also make it only for those 3 factions, because they know those are the only 3 factions who are anywhere close to monasteries at the beginning. All right, but we got our offensive tactics. And yeah, Orkney's fighting against Fortru. They're not at war with us yet. Cormac the Governor. All right, we were going to give him the priest trait before, so we will do that and make that right. Okay, hopefully that'll help out. And we can do another research. These civic ones usually take a while because they all require you to either build something or conquer a region with the highest level of a particular building. So we're going to be doing military stuff for a little while, I think. And we're pretty much gone down the melee chain. I think we'll go with shield effectiveness because that's good for a lot of different units. Yeah. Okay. Big important thing to do down here is take Dunabert. It looks like they're trying to raise another army at their capital. But we will go ahead. Oh, come on. You gotta watch it, because if it's the sword, they're gonna try to get it by land, which is just silly. This will be fine. I'm actually gonna sack this. We've got our 1,000 gold reward, and now we're going to go again and occupy.
We will.
And now we're up on the town with our army, so this is good. Now, the loyalty is bad. It's at -9, so there's a 9% chance of rebellion. That's going to get better over time. And these buildings will eventually, get better as well. You can kind of wait for them to improve. But that gives us a little bit of buffer in terms of food. And so I'll leave him here. I don't know that we're quite strong enough to go after the capital just yet. Yeah, I want to get these guys up to full strength. Maybe train another couple of units depending on how our food situation looks. We'll have some more food there in a little bit, and in 3 more turns from there. Now, Orkney doesn't look like they have an army in the area. Okay, these they got a full stack, so hopefully that hopefully that doesn't come our way. They're at war with a couple of factions, so that's probably what they're going to do with it. So chat disconnected, so they're going to try to reconnect. Yeah, maybe this is going to be unworkable. Oh, wow. Okay, Fort True just captured that, which stinks because I want it. That's, I think, a hunting settlement, so that would be more food. Okay, we've got a political event. We've got blackmail from Gisley, who's our governor. And we could pay him off or ignore it. Let's take a look at Gisley's traits just so I can remind myself. Oh, he's industrious. That's nice. Keen on fishing. That's right. So that's the active trait. He's foolish, though, because he doesn't have the libraries. So this guy foolishly decided to blackmail our king, but he's really good, in other ways for public order and so on. So his loyalty is currently at 4. That's not too bad. We could ignore it. Now, our influence is going to go down, and that would mean his influence would go down by 2. Because I don't want to pay him off. I think that just causes bad things to happen. This is going to be a temporary lowering of Eric's influence. So we'll ignore it for now. And let's see. Now we've got 3 characters with low loyalty. Let's take a look at Gisley. Yep, he's down at 2. And our 2 statesmen, Finnbogi is at 2, and Hakon is also at 2. So this is manageable. Our influence is going to go back up. And you'll notice influence does play a role in other things other than just the loyalty. So fame is going to go down, and faction allegiance, faction-wide, is going to go down as our influence decreases. So more stuff to think about. So there's all these things you have to juggle. All right, now we're not at war with Fort True, which I'm glad of. But maybe we can send this king's army back over to Apercrossen. Let's see. Yeah, we can get there. It's not a port, but we can get there anyway. And then we'll be kind of within reach of maybe some of these settlements. Okay, the other thing we can do is decide how much we really want done at. They do have a granary, which is really nice. Just an extra buffer of food. 42 food production coming out of that. 30 food cost for the Great Hall. So if we take this, we're not going to be in a food debt. That's something that sometimes happens if you conquer a settlement, like a major settlement that requires you to siege it, that has a very high level of like the Great Hall or whatever, that's going to cost a lot of food. And some other buildings have food costs associated too, like this one. But if there's a granary in there, you can take it without it hurting your overall food supply potentially, right? So you got to do a little bit of math. So this would not hurt us to take, and it would help us a little bit. And of course, I want it.
Our foes shall fall.
They've got 9 units there. Let's send these guys up here. And I guess I should have put them in fortify stance, but we'll just kind of gradually move them up the peninsula. And I think the plan will be to deal with those armies. Alright, let me see if chat is back. Unable to connect. Well, I'm sorry about that, everybody. That's really weird. I mean, I guess it's not that weird considering the lag there. Okay, so Fortru's going to beat me to it. Ulate is actually destroyed. I don't often see that. And Kirkin is declaring war on Athvokla and Stratklut, potentially? Interesting. So that could make things really different in Scotland. And Cormac is also imbecilic, which, ugh. Alright, we do have a fisherman down here that gives us a little extra food. And let's take a look at that. Yeah, Kirkin and Athvokla and Kirkin and Stratklut. So it's not Fortru, but it's these other factions right here. So if I had to guess, I would say Kirkin's going to win this, because Athvokla is just the interior. But you never know. They could have a full stack in here and get around and do some serious damage. But yeah, Kirkin is also fighting Stratklut. However, North Leod is getting up here and doing... wow, Stratklut is just about gone. Let's take a look at this.